the very end, as we will have a short Kahoot quiz to highlight this event. So before that, allow me to share a brief background and summary of Dr. Ali. So Dr. Ali is a senior UX researcher at Airasia. He received his PhD in computer science from the University of York, United Kingdom. In IR 4.0, he led a number of great research grants on understanding the empowerment through engagement in digital games for pediatric cancer patients in Malaysia. So prior to his employment with AirAsia, he was working as senior product researcher at Transforming Customer Journey in CIMB, where he worked on several projects, including retails and wealth products. Today, he runs the end-to-end user research activities from the pre-design to post-launching of digital products in AirAsia. So there you go, such an interesting career history for such a good-looking and charismatic person. So let's welcome the man himself, Dr. Ali Imran. The floor is yours, Doctor.
Hello, hi everyone. Good evening. Thank you very much, Mukris, for the introduction. I'm very honored to be invited today to share a little bit of my knowledge and experiences working in industry, specifically in the UX area. I'm very happy that I got the invitation, and then I received an email from Bashir to attend tonight's session. And I'm very proud to actually see all of you to come on Friday night, because I remember when I was a student, well, it's Friday, it's a party time, but you guys are rather to be here with everyone, which is really, really, really good. Okay, I like to start my session with a little game. And I want everyone to be very relaxed and easy. If you need to ask me any question, you can just unmute and ask, because it's quite difficult to keep up in the chat box, and at the same time try to use Miro and also, you know, navigate the slides. Okay, I'll be sharing. Okay, in your chat box, you can see, oh yeah, I actually sent it to the host. Yeah, Bashir, can you share to everyone? So this is the link that I want everyone to join in. May I know how many of you have used this software Miro before? Have you heard about this?
We have heard of Miro before, but so far, I only have experience in similar software such as Figma, which almost serves the same purpose.
Yeah, we have Figma Jam, and then we have Miro. So I feel like might as well I'm sure you guys all are very familiar with Figma. So let's play with little games in Miro.
Awesome, let's do that then.
Perfect. Is everyone here yet? Let me see. Yeah, I can see 6, 7 people. So what you can do is you can go to the world map. Right. So once you are in Miro, you can see on the left side of the screen, there are tools. The top one is the arrow. Second one is some other things. The third one is text. And then the fourth one is the sticky notes. Okay. So before you guys write everything about what you expect to get from the session, okay, I think what I will do, I will lock everything before you guys move it around. Okay. For now, nobody can change anything.
Hello, sir. It's asked like my company name or something. Is this right?
Sorry?
It's asking for my company name. Am I on the right page?
Yeah, you should actually be able to join in without do anything. You just need to, yeah, you can just write your company or something like that.
Okay.
All right. So for the first game, can you see the world map? And then there are a lot of airplanes. Because I'm in Asia, I would like everyone to just take the plane and put on the destination that you like to go. And I want to see like in which area the plane will get together. Oh, we can see a lot in United States. Can someone tell me why do you want to go to the US? Can someone who actually decide to go to the US, can you tell me why you want to go to the US?
Because there's Silicon Valley there.
Oh, is that all?
That's one of it. Yeah.
Well, I thought you're gonna say that they serve a huge portion of food or something like that.
Maybe meeting LeBron James then.
Okay, we can see a few people wants to go to Russia. Can you tell me why? Yeah, and a lot in Egypt as well. This is really nice. If you can actually see on your screen, you can see the aircraft actually moving. So it looks like a flight radar like that. It's moving from one side to another side. It's really cool. Yeah. Okay, now I'm gonna ask, can someone share with me how do you feel when you do this activity?
When I do this activity, I feel like it reminds me of the past memories I went overseas. For example, since I put the plane on Australia, I remembered going to Australia in 2014 with my family. That's all I remember.
2014. So it brings back your memory. Oh, that's nice. Qayyim, you said you feel confused. Can you tell me why?
You're muted.
Yeah, if you are speaking, Qayyim, you are muted.
I don't know where to put the plane at, so I felt confused at first where to put the plane at because I don't have a destination that I wanted to go.
Uh-huh. Okay.
That's why I'm confused.
All right. So you are aimless. You just don't know where to go. Fair enough. Yeah, not to worry. Yeah, I can see like people are still moving their planes around. Okay, maybe last person can Humaira, would you like to share? Where did you put your plane at?
I put it in Japan.
Oh, why do you want to go
Like
to
it's
Japan?
mostly because of I think I like their culture and I wanna like experience being there.
Okay, perfect. All right. Yeah, I hope you know everyone can fly after this. The borders open and then you can start purchasing Airasia ticket and you can fly, you know, now everyone can fly. Anyway, I think let's focus to what I'm going to share with you today. Before we start, how many of you have heard about a position called user experience researcher?
Never heard of it before, Doctor. All I saw on LinkedIn was maybe a UI UX developer, more to the front end and back end developer. I haven't heard of UX researcher before.
Okay, so okay, this is your first time that you heard about this user experience researcher. Anyone else? Anyone else heard about this position before? Okay, anyway, don't worry about it. Yeah, so I would like to share with you one position in the product development team that we call user experience researcher. And I'm sure most of you have taken a HCI course before, and you learn about UX, UI, user experience, and so on. And since you are from the developers society, I suppose you are more interested in the development, isn't it? Okay, perfect. So for today's session, I will share a little bit about me, and then we're going to look at the product development phases, and then we're going to discuss about when do we conduct user research, and then talk about the challenges. So my name is Ali. I'm an independent scholar, and I'm a senior user experience researcher. So I completed my PhD in computer science from Department of Computer Science at the University of York, UK. My PhD research was in video games. So if anyone who like to play video games, and then anyone have ever scolded you before, you tell them I can get a PhD by playing video games. And then you can show them this is the evidence. Yeah, so I played games for 2 years. I wrote a thesis and I got a doctorate. Sounds easy, isn't it? So you should be able to get inspired to pursue your PhD. Yeah, you sit, play games, talk to people, interview a few group of gamers, and you can get your doctorate. At that time, it was Candy Crush. I don't know if you know about that game, but that's what the game I studied. I look at why people spend so much time playing video games. Yeah, after I did my PhD, I worked in universities, in University Pertahanan, National Malaysia. And then after that, I got a job in UKM as a research associate. And then during that uni time, I did a lot of research on games for cancer patients, games for school children, games for military army, and so on. And I supervise a few research master and PhD student in games. So you have my email there. And then, yeah, let's connect on LinkedIn. So if I have like any, opportunity, then you can see if I share around. So classic product development process, you can see in these 6 steps. I don't know if you guys agree with me or not. Okay, let's take a minute and everyone try to read, and I need some reaction. If anyone disagree with it or you have any feedback, you can just unmute and say it. Okay. So basically, we will start with some sort of ideation. So this is where we explore idea, and then we understand the storyline, and then we will start making sense of the problem and the ideas, and then we present it to the steering committee. Steering committee is the committee that give you money. You have to convince them. Okay, so if you have an idea for a product that you think it's good for the company, you make a proposal. So you search for the idea, the problem, the storyline behind it. You do some best in class. Best in class means like you go for your competitor analysis. You look at other companies, you look at other apps, you look at other system, what other people have done, you compare, and then you find the gap, and then you present it to the committee asking for money. And then after that, once they said, all right, let's do this. You will go for product definition. So from here, the product discovery starts. Okay, you will define the core functionality, and then at this time also you will try to understand the market size. You will look into the revenue. You will do a lot of end-to-end as is flow. As is flow means like if you are going to enhance a current process, then you have to put the flow for the current process, and then you can show like where is the gap in the current process before you implement a new idea. And then after you have this product definition, then you can start prototyping. So prototyping, you say, all right, this is the idea. We're going to solve the problem. We can see in current end-to-end as is flow, there's a lot of gap. So this prototype will fill up this gap, and this is how we make money. And then after we complete with the prototype, we move into detailed design. So this is where we refine the prototype, and then we go deeper in the product design. And then we use all of this, we confirm back with the business people, the business side. You know, it's like, okay, this is it. Is this what you want? Is this the product that you envision, and so on? And then if they say like, yeah, okay, then we going to develop, and then after we develop, we're gonna test and validate, and after that we commercialize it. You know, usually this product process development startups, you can see that they do all of this, right? And then you can also see, you know, in each of the phase, they have their own exit criteria. Exit criteria is like milestone, you know, what output they get from each of the phase. And can you see like the word agile down there? So
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you know, usually in each phase is iterate. It doesn't like, you know, sometimes prototyping can, you know, you do one prototype one, and then you learn more, and then you change prototype 2, prototype 3 before you get into detailed design. So it's actually, it's move left to right, but at the same time in each phase it's move iteratively. Okay, and then usually during the commercialization it's launching already. So looking at this, I want to ask you, which phase do you think is important between all of these 6 phases or steps?
All of it.
All of it? Why?
I think the first step, ideation.
And why do you think ideation is important?
Because if you got it wrong, you get all the other steps wrong.
Okay. And I can see MacPack says step number 5. And why is that number 5 is important?
Doctor, because I think no matter what the team thinks of or designs, as long as the user doesn't accept it, the application or the system will be a failure.
Yeah, true. That's correct. And then I can see like Amirul said product definition. And why do you think phase 2 is important, Amirul?
I think product definition is, you could say, is the foundation of or the base of the whole product development. Ideation, you could have like different ideas, you combine and whatnot, but number 2, I think, is the most important one, as if the foundation itself is not strong, then how will the structure withstand?
Okay. Yeah, actually, all the points that you guys shared are correct. Yeah, it's important, like validation, testing, you know, if the user doesn't want it, it doesn't make sense to, you know, bring it out. And then if you don't define product properly, then, you know, you are developing some things that you like, it doesn't make sense. Similar to number 1, you know, if you don't do a proper exploration, yes, you know, it could actually, you reinvent the wheel, you know, you maybe do the same solution that available. But the one who actually answered that all the phases are important, yeah, actually all is important. And it has its own
Mak ingat lagi sebelah tengah.
yeah, it has its own issues. Why didn't you say prototype is important? Why don't you think number 3 is important? I can see people say number 1, number 2, number 5. How about number 3? No, it's all right. Actually, yeah, all the phase is important. And then you have to remember in real world, in industry, it's money. From the first phase until the stack number 6, it has cost. So if you don't do properly in each of the phase, you will spend a lot of the funding. Yeah, and then if you do that, it's either you waste a lot of money and you don't get a lot from it. And money doesn't necessarily means, you know, like the RM. Money can be, you know, you spend I mean, if you don't do it properly, you will spend a lot of your energy, your time, you know, your team members, the motivation and everything. And when all of this is spent, that's actually equivalent to $sign. Right. So the next question, the next question is, do you think the process is in a single line, meaning that it starts from one end and it ends at the other? If you look back at these steps.
Well, looking back at the steps, I believe that since it's an agile development process, probably it's recursive. So maybe we recur the process when one is done. So we keep on recurring until we obtain the perfect outcome.
Yeah, so you don't look at it as a waterfall lah. You do one, and then after you complete one, then you move to the next one, and then you move to the next one. So you look at it that it can done in parallel, simultaneously. Am I right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, you're right. Well done. Did you learn this in your software development, software engineering?
We learned it in UI UX development.
Cool. Okay, so the next question, can you see user research in the process? Look here again. Can someone tell me, can you see user research here? Yeah, Bashir, which phase do you think user research?
I think it's the first phase, right? The ideation. That's where you
The first phase.
Is it?
Okay. How about others? I don't know.
Maybe the second phase.
Second. Anyone wants to challenge that?
I think it's the fifth phase, validation and testing.
The fifth.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, interesting. So you see, like, user research falls into one specific phase. Well, actually, that's not it. So my position, actually, I cover every phase, because in each phase, they require some sort of research, some sort of validation, some sort of workshop, just to, you know, develop more ideas. So user research, although it sounds like you do the research at the complete product, that's not true. Sometimes pre-design, you know, at the beginning, when people's like, oh, what is the problem? What is the problem that we can solve and make money? So user researcher will go out, you know, we talk to people, we do survey, we do diary study, we observe, and then we take data that we have in our company. And then from all of this, we come up with insight, and then we show like gaps and potential. And then from here, you know, the business can think about like, oh, all right, people actually want it. something like that. So we start. And then during product definition, people would come to us and ask, like, between these two functions, which one do users want? For example, function A and function B, which one is better? So all of this decision, we as user researcher, we take it and then we'll bring it out and then we talk to user. So we do cut sorting, it's like, all right, now we are going to show you like a blank canvas. We allow you to design your own app homepage. So arrange it. So from there, we know what users want. This is how they look at it. Prototyping, once you create the prototype, you want to do usability testing, user researcher will go in and take the prototype and test it with user. And then we'll tell them like, okay, you said the button is very clear, but users said they don't understand why the button is there. They thought if you click the button, it goes to checkout, but when you design the prototype, you click the button, it goes to the next page. And then we tell that to designers, and the designer will change the prototype. And then once they change, and then we test it again until everyone's happy, and then we get into detailed design. And once we have in detailed design, also we go out again and validate the design. And then once it's developed, then here we go and do again usability testing, A/B testing, stress test, and so on. And then when it comes to commercialization, you launch the product, we do research. We ask what's problem about it. Do you find any issues about it? And then we take that and then we bring back to phase 1. So user researcher actually starts from the beginning to the end. Okay. Oops. So user research is simple. It's actually about data gathering, where you gather the data from your users using a structured approach. So that's user research. So you do research on user. So what is research? Research is, you gather data and make sense of it from research, but you must use a structured approach. So look at the data gathering. So in research, we have two types of data. One is qualitative and one is quantitative. So qualitative, usually we try to gain deep contextual understanding of users via non-numerical. We don't use statistics. We understand more, rich description, understanding. Whereas quantitative, to test theories about people's attitudes or behavior based on numerical and statistical evidence. This is numbers. We want to generalize, for example. Yeah, okay. And then when we talk about structured approach, when we do all of this data gathering, we use methodologies that we know works. For example, like qualitative, there are a few. This is all example, okay? There are more. So for interview, there are a few famous, I would say, a common method like interviews, ethnography, observation, usability testing, diary study. So from here, you get a lot of data, rich data without numbers. And then we use qualitative because we can run the testing with very small number of people. I can take your prototype, I can do usability testing with 5 people. I just want to understand 3 features from the prototype. Then we can get an indication whether the features works or not. So it's cheap and then it requires lesser time. For quantitative, you can use analytics, survey, questionnaire, A/B testing, and it requires a huge number of data. Okay, sometimes, dashboard, like the log for 1 year. So we want to see like how users use our product, what time, and then what time they drop, at which page they drop, and so on. So usually we use this quantitative. And then when we gather data, when we do data gathering from our users through a structured approach, usually we have two different approach. One is attitudinal and another one is behavioral. So what we do, the first one, we listen to what user says, and second one, we see what users do through our observation. So this is usually what we do when it comes to structured approach. No matter quantitative or qualitative, we usually look into these two. Yeah. So if we do quantitative, we ask question about attitude, about what they say, what they think, you know, we ask to what extent do you think this is easy to use? They give 1 to 5. Or we can ask, what do you think of this if we do qualitative? Okay. Before we go, I just have a few more slides. Just want you to get some ideas about what we do, okay? And then when you look at user research, like just now I said, we either do attitudinal or behavioral, and we have qualitative and we have quantitative. This is like a I would say the simplest metrics that you can refer. For example, if you want to look at behavioral, what is behavioral just now is to see what users do. And then if you want qualitative, you can use usability studies. If you want quantitative, you can do data mining, analytics, A/B test. And then if you want to measure attitudinal, if you want to use qualitative, you can do focus group, user interviews. And then if you want quantitative for attitudinal, say surveys, pulse feedback, and micro survey. And then in between, there are other methods like card sorting, remote usability studies, contextual inquiry, and so on. So this is like in between, a mixture of behavioral and attitudinal, so on, okay? Sorry, I was reading the chat. Okay, and then the question is, when do we do user research? So during that, I mean, you know, I showed to you the 6 steps just now, but when do we do user research? Usually we ask designers or product owners, like, what do they want? If they want to generate, meaning that they want something to make, then we do generative. If they want to evaluate something that they have developed, we do evaluative. So this is what we do as user researcher. For example, if you come to me, you as a product, you as a designer, you're like, hey, I want to develop something. Can you go and find out what you want, what users want? Then I will design my research to be generative. So I will generate what users want. And then if you come to me, it's like, hey, Ali, this is the kuih bakul. I want you to go and ask people whether they like it or not. That one is evaluative. So I evaluate. So I will design the research to evaluate the kuih, for example. Okay. And then you can see, like, when you make, it's a generative kit, you know, participatory design, or you can use co-design. This is one way when we want to generate research. And then when evaluate, we can, it's usually to refine things that we have done. So we can ask their emotion, we can see their usability, and then we can see the human factors. So again, just now, like the question was like, when do we conduct user research? It depends on whether you want to generate or evaluate. And then at the same time, we look at the stage. Is it pre-development, during development, or post-launch? Yeah. I know it's quite complicated. It's like, you know, you should know which one. Because this is important. As user researcher, you need to design your research. So you cannot conduct technique or strategy for post-launch phase in pre-development. So usually during pre-development, it's more about explore. We go and explorative. We go and ask people, we ask them what they need, you know, we observe them, how they interact with the system. We take note on all of this to make explorative. So you can see a method as well. You see interviews, we can ask people, we can do focus group, or we can do benchmark studies. And during development, usually we want to evaluate and verify. You know, we want to know if the product feels right, if the user expectation similar to what we designed for. You know, if we expect user to be able to save by clicking this button, but when we test this during development, user didn't get that. You know, they don't see this button as save. They thought this is print. So I will go back to designer or developer. I say, oh, by the way, user, they don't get it. They thought this button is for printing. Yeah, and then post-launch is measure. We want to know, is there anything that we missed? Is there any opportunity to enhance? And so on. So we have a lot of other methods. So all of these methods, I don't know if you heard about this before, but if you learn, since you say UX, UI, product development is the best course, so you should be introduced or exposed to this little subject of user research and all of this research method. Okay. Yeah, and then the research is not limited, like you have to take one specific method and then you use it into a specific phase. Doesn't work like that. You can actually sometimes mix and match, you know. Yeah, so it's usually you use your creativity to decide what method that you want. And usually for me, I will sit down with designers, I will sit down with business and also product, and then I will ask, like, what do you want to know and what is the issue? Is there anything that you need to clarify? I try to understand properly, and then from there I will choose which method. Okay, so what could be the challenges? If you listen to what I've shared to you just now, what do you think would be our challenges as user researcher?
Awesome. So guys, if you have answers to Dr. Ali's question, you can just type in the box or unmute your mic.
Yeah. What do you think would be the challenges? Okay, Sia Kwan, communication. In which okay, why did you say communication?
For me, my idea is as a UX design researcher, you need to know others people's thoughts and you need to know about the idea. And it's not just a rough idea, and you need to know exactly what they want and what they need. So based on the communication, you need to avoid all those mistakes or misunderstandings to avoid the losses that if you are go wrong with one of the stages in the UX design.
True. Yeah, you are completely right. To be honest, communication can be very, it can be a biggest challenge for user researcher, because, you know, it's not only talking to designers. Designers, they get requirement from product or some, you know, and then product also develop and create the product based on business. So, you know, like in organization, especially a big organization, it has business team. We call it stakeholders, business team. So business team, they are those people who move the business. So they know what needed, you know, what is needed for the business. And then when they know that, they will deliver that to product. And product will, when these are the experts saying that, okay, these are the features that are required so that we can achieve what business people want. And then once product says the features, it tells to the designers, these are the things that we want. And designers will use all the design tools to visualize and to do prototype. So can you imagine, like, if you are a user researcher, you try to understand, you need to communicate properly so that you really understand what business want, and then how product envision the features so that they can catch the business needs. And then you need to understand how designers design the prototype based on what product wants to achieve business needs. Yeah. So I think it's hard because one person can say A, another person can say B, and then the third person can say C. So you as a user researcher, usually what we do stakeholder interview. We interview all of these people. We ask them for, what they want. So they tell us exactly what they want, and then we try to understand, and then after that we come up with insight, and then we can align roadmap and so on.
Doctor, talking about the challenges, since user research requires a lot of human data, how do you curb the challenges of cost in terms of time, in terms of effort? Because yeah, user data is not cheap.
When you say about user data, what do you mean by that?
Lucas, you're muted, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. By user data, I'm thinking about how the user interacts. For example, when we conduct a user research, we will ask them personal questions like what will you need this app for? How do you usually interact with apps like this? And yeah, something like that close to it.
Yeah, you are right. When we do user research, our participants, our users' time are very, very expensive. Okay, especially for example, like in banking, when I was working in the bank, if the product is developed for people with certain salary, for example, like like very high salary, so these people are like CEO level, so you cannot waste their time. So you're right, so it's very expensive, so you need to really invest. We usually compensate our users, so when they join, and then we give them reward. Since it's very expensive, you have to think about that. Users are very expensive. It's not about their time only, it's about your time. The challenges usually is frustration, because time, you prepare everything. If let's say user didn't turn up, okay, you said, okay, you want to interview 4 users today, and suddenly 2 users didn't turn up, so you feel like, and tomorrow you have another 6, and then you have to bring forward another 2, so it's drag. So once you drag, the whole project timeline will be dragged as well. And then once the project timeline is dragged, that means it's cost. Yeah, and then you're right, Mukris, isn't it? Yeah, you're right that resources like money, time, that could be a challenge as well. Especially like if you are a small company, you don't have enough budget, enough fund, and you cannot give like attractive reward. It's also going to be a challenge, because let's say you say, hi everyone, I want your 1 hour time to try my new app. I'll give you coffee from cafe UPM. And people was like, huh, you want me to spend 1 hour and you give me iced coffee from what's called cafe in UPM somewhere lah. Okay. And then people was like, oh, I don't want. So it's hard, Imagine you have like two groups. One group, okay, guys, I give you 20 ringgit Starbucks gift card. Use this app and tell me what you like. And then you don't have budget, no fun, and it's like, hey, come try our app. I give you iced coffee peng. So where do you think people will go? Usually those with more attractive reward. And you're right lah. So Qaim, if you don't have enough funding, it can be a challenge. So you have to be more creative. So if you cannot pay everyone, maybe you can do focus group, you know. So you buy like one nasi goreng with fried chicken, and then you call everyone, and then you do like a buffet style, so it's cheap instead of paying everyone. So you have to think of you know, like workshop style, or you can do online, or you can ask them to fill up diaries or certain things like that.
Agree
Okay.
with you, Doctor. Just to read one of the questions from our guests. One of them asked regarding the challenges. Does a UX researcher needs to know how to code?
I personally, I don't code. I don't know. Yeah.
All right, so that answers the question.
I don't know how to code, but if you know how to code, it will be what you call that, an advantage. Because for example, if you get the product and then you find something, you find a bug, and you can read the code and you can fix it, so you can do it immediately. Unlike me, if I cannot code, so what I would do is go back. I need to go back to the developer and say, hey, this doesn't work. When I click, it doesn't expand. And then you have to wait because developers, they have their backlog. You know, they work like tickets, they have items in their ticket. So it can be a little bit slow. But if you have knowledge and then skills in coding, doesn't mean you cannot do research. You will be better at it. Trust me. Yeah. What else do you think could be the challenge as user researcher? I think another one is time. Let's say if if the project is going to launch next in 2 months time, for example, and in industry, that 2 months you need to start planning of your research, recruit, find people. Yeah, so that could also be a challenge to you as a user researcher. You just need to move faster and decide, yeah, what to use and then what to get. So usually before we do research, we really make sure that the research questions is clear, what we want to know, what we want to explore. We don't simply, like, if you tell us something, we just, okay, let's do it. Because, you know, once you've done it, let's say if you need to know more, you have to redo. You need to redo the methodology. So usually
Agree with
we
you,
will have
Doctor.
like, yeah, we will have like a big sometimes not fighting, but sometimes argue, just to really understand what the products or designers want.
I think we have a lot of questions from our guests, so
Yeah.
let's take some time to answer a few of them lah. So
I
Bashir,
will
I
stop
think you
sharing.
can.
Yeah.
All right, Bashir, bring in the questions. Let's see what the audience has to say regarding the challenges. I think we can go with the first one first lah. So can a graphic designer work as a UI designer? If not, why?
Can I have a designer where which her experience was in graphic design. So I will not answer why not, because you can. You know, sometimes I've seen engineering students join in design teams. You know, apparently he just loved Figma, and then he explored Figma during his engineering bachelor time, and then he got hooked to it, and then he became a designer. So can a graphic designer work as UI designer? Yes, you can.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Because some people doubt that they can become a UX researcher since they do not have the qualification to do so. So I guess qualification is part of everything actually as a professional. So moving on to the next question. Did
Which
GTA
spec-
5 become famous because of its UX? Oh my God, but GTA 5.
What do you guys think? Okay, we answered that later about games. Right? Is a bachelor's degree enough to be UI UX designer? Okay, if you ask me, just a bachelor's degree, no, it's not enough. You know, you need to have a passion. Yeah. If you say like, okay, I just study, get a degree, and then can I be a designer? But you are not interested in it, so cannot. You need to have patience. You need to have interest. You know, yeah, because the skills you can be learned. So as long as you have bachelor degree, which covers everything that you need to know about the theory, you have your patient, and then you determine you want to be a UI UX designer, of course you can. But if you say like, I study this and I'm not interested, I don't have patience, I'm not determined in UI UX, it can be challenging. It's not only UI UX. If you don't have this, the spirit, the determination, then whatever you're gonna find it hard to do. So one tips right now, if you want to be UI UX designer, you know how to use Figma, you can start, venture into designing it. Try to think of a problem, and then you can try to ideate, come up with the ideation, the UI, the screen, and then from there you sort of improve your skills and familiar with the tools, like design tools. Right. Did GTA 5 become famous? Maybe. And how much do you rate the UX of the game? Don't get it. How much do you rate? How do you rate?
Maybe on a scale from 1 to 10, if you have played GTA before, what score do you give the game in terms of interface, experience, and all?
I don't play game.
See,
I got a PhD already. I was like, no. You guys
I
play
guess
lah.
most of us are still stuck in our youth, doctor. Most of us are playing games.
Good. Well, people make money from it sometimes.
Okay, I think we can answer our last question before we continue with doctor's slides. I think there's just now mentioned.
I don't have any other slide, by the way.
Oh, okay, all right. So then I think we can continue with your sharing. Is it only me? I cannot see the screen for Slido.
Yes, Aus Mubarak, correct. UI UX is crucial part in games. I still remember when I did my PhD, I worked with a team from EA Sports, FIFA. You know FIFA? Who plays FIFA? FIFA game. Yeah. So they did research. I think it's a year research just to see the lighting. You have a ball on the field. So they look at the lighting, like how to make the shadow and everything, just to improve the UX experience. Yeah.
Awesome.
So yeah, it's important. Yes, questions. What is it?
So basically, recently there in UI UX, there's this one concept called gamification. It's an important aspect in designing. Do you have experience on gamification, doctor? Maybe you can elaborate more on it and what's the best product that applies to it.
Gamification is, if you understand the meaning, you gamify, you put game element in non-gaming activity. For example, I gamify toothbrushing amongst children. I said, okay, kids, if you brush your teeth for 2 minutes, I give you 1 star. So they will keep brushing for 2 minutes, they get 1 star. And then say if you collect 10 stars, you'll get ice cream. So they will try to, you know, get 10 stars so that they can get ice cream. So that's gamification. Okay.
Ah,
So
I
you
see.
gamify non-gaming activities. You put game element.
We can see an increasing trend in gamification, especially previously Hilti hosted this one hackathon, which encourages people, especially developers actually. They wanted these developers to make game softwares that encourage cybersecurity. So most of us were new to this concept of gamification. Thanks to your explanation, I think we can have a clearer perspective now and what to do about it.
So you think about it like I want you to, okay, in daily life, Ramadan fasting, we want to encourage, motivate children to fast. And then we said one day if you fast fully, you get 2 ringgit. And then if you complete the whole Ramadan month, you get, let's say 30 days, you get 60 ringgit. So that's gamification, you know. And then we say, but okay, that's fasting only. But every day you fast, if you pray 5 times, you get another 3 ringgit. So one day fasting and then pray for 5 times, they get 5 ringgit. And then we say, if that day you do house chore, you help to clean the house, you get another 2 ringgit. So this is gamify. You want them to, you know, you want them to do things. The more they do, the more they get. Yeah, and then we are hoping it's not about, you know, giving money to them when they fight. We want them, you know, we want to train them so that once, you know, maybe 5 days a week, the body get used to it and then they can just fight. Yeah. Yeah, I can talk about gamification in next session because that's what I did before. Next one, is UX UI job less stressful? I disagree. Why do you think software development is stressful? I think UI UX also stressful.
Maybe because software development and UI UX, they have something in common, which is during the requirements elicitation phase where we interact with people to conform with the needs of the software sometimes.
Yeah, UI UX, I think it's more, okay, I think it's unfair to say this is more stressful than the others. Both can be very stressful. You know, for example, like you have to look at the sector. So imagine in healthcare, if you design a software, if the UI is wrong, you know, it can be very dangerous, can kill people. Yeah, similar, you know, to software development. If they don't do it properly, then they can kill people. So both can be very, very challenging. Does UX or researcher needs to know how to code? No.
Okay, I guess most of the questions are answered already by Dr. Ali. So
only because of 5 minutes studies. Maybe. I don't know.
maybe
Can you describe your daily routine? Daily routine. I wake
Yes.
up, I go to work, I finish work, dinner, Netflix, and then the day is end. No, kidding. So it depends. If I don't have research, I usually do a lot of like you said, requirement elicitation. I go and get the requirement from stakeholders. I want to understand the business, the product that they want. I go and talk to them. And then when it comes to research week, I will run the research lah, interviews, and then after that analyze, transcribe the data, you know, writing back the notes, reading, and then come up with insights. And then this insight I will share to the stakeholders so that they can make informed decision. So that's how is it work. Cool. Any more questions? I can see that you guys want to play Kahoot already.
Thank you for your great answers, Doctor. I really hope your answers help these students in finding their passion, especially in the UX part of development, especially software. So yeah, moving on with the.
Before that, I want to know, like, any one of you interested to be a UX researcher? No.
Many are answering yes in the comment section.
Not many lah. I can see like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I can see someone who doesn't like coding. Yeah, come. And I want to also share, we at Airasia, we look for interns. So you can come and apply for internships, if you're interested in UX, UI designer, so you can be with our designers in the design teams. If you are interested in research, you can work with me and my other researchers. If you're interested in product, then there's also a product. So what I would do, I created like a short Google form. Okay, I will share in the chat. Okay, I'll share it in the chat. Okay, and then if you are interested, you can fill up the form, and then yeah, I have your I have your details, and then I can share it to our HR. Oh, I think I need to also, 1 second. I think I need to, don't feel anything yet. Let me add another question.
Amirul mentions that he needs permission to answer the form.
Oh, really? 1 second. When I need to go to settings. Okay. Can you fill it up now? Can you try?
Okay, I guess they can access the form now.
Okay, perfect. Yep, just leave me your details, and then I can share it with the HR team.
Great, Doctor. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, so thank you so much, Doctor, for this valuable sharing of your experience with us. And I sincerely hope that your talk greatly inspired all of us as junior UX